All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for yet another One Punch Man chapter. Let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Yo, peoples, Kyushu92 here, and welcome back to more One Punch Man. In the last chapter, well, it's been a hot minute since I saw the last chapter, so let me skim through it real quick and see what we had the last time. It was a whole altercation between, I see it now, a whole altercation between Blast and Empty Void, who has recently learned to take the power. Well, we basically learn that the power from Cosmic Fear Garo was taken by Empty Void to not only revitalize himself, but it changed his whole monsterization completely. Where he had this monstrous face with jagged teeth and blank, flared eyes, and an overall monstrous appearance. After pretty much subsuming the power of Cosmic Fear Garo, Empty Void's entire appearance has changed, at least by his face standards, where his face looks like there's stars inside of basically an empty void. And he's basically become strong enough to not only bend his body in different directions that should be pretty much impossible in order to attack a person behind him, but he winds up chopping off one of Blast's hands, which Blast needs in order to basically teleport where he wants to. And one of the things that pops up in this conversation is, and I'm going to read the last chapter's final 2 pages, is, "Your desperation move was to use a paltry trick to strike from my blind side. You disappoint me, Class S Rank 1 hero." As he, spins his limbs back into place, because he turned his head 180 degrees, his limbs, in order to attack Blast. "You can no longer dodge Dimension Slash. Suck your thumb and watch as I put the cities and peoples of the world through a shredder." And then Blast says, You're still a bad liar. Your eyes look shifty." "What?" 15 years ago, you could have taken off my head right away, but due to absorbing an aspect of Garo, you've begun to awaken from God's brainwashing." And when Blast questions the mentality of Empty Void right now, he winds up getting slashed all over his body in response. And that's where the last chapter ended. So let's begin with chapter 207. Well, Punch 207, Catch. And this one has Saitama on the front cover, where it looks like he's about to catch a blade in between his fingers, which is incredibly easy for him to do because no one is faster than him. And we begin with Empty Void stabbing Blast straight through his right shoulder. "You're telling me to wake up? Ugh. It is you who must wake up." Oh, he's lifting him up the same way Sephiroth was lifting up Cloud in Advent Children. He's stabbing him through the shoulder and then lifting him up in the air while still on his sword. "I wasn't surprised when I heard you had risen to the top of the fraudulent pro-hero business. You've always spouted hollow ideals while spreading unhappiness. In the end, who did you ever save, huh?" As he starts twisting the blade, while he's still holding Blast, he's still twisting the blade, causing more pain to Blast. Ugh. "I hear you have a son." "Ah, that put fear in your eyes." And then something comes flying in at breakneck speed towards Empty Void. And it's Flashy Flash, who immediately tries to hit Void, but Void uses his other sword, because remember, Empty Void uses 2 katanas. Flashy Flash tries to hit him with his other sword. "No, stay out of this!" "Why didn't you exploit that weakness earlier? After all, that's what they taught in your village." And while Flashy Flash is saying this, he instantly gets slashed across the chest by Void. Hold up. he instantly gets slashed across the chest by Void. Flash! And Sonic comes in and he tries to hit Void, who immediately just weaves out of the way. Uh-oh. Oh, Empty Void has gone outside of the dimension. He's preparing to use Dimension Slash again. I'll put your brat to the sword soon enough. As for you, I wanted to dice you up close and personal. So drop dead! Dimension Slash! And then he unleashes a Dimension Slash on this dimension, and it just causes this big beam of a dimensional cut to start aiming towards Blast, Sonic, and Flash. And all Blast, Sonic, and Flash can do is just look. And it keeps going. But then it stops. I'm done. I'm done. I am done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done with this series. I've had enough. This is crazy. The beam of the slash just stops, shocking everyone, including Void. Because then we zoom in and we get closer to this slash that's being held in place by Saitama! This man just stopped a slash from outside of his dimension. Something that is capable of cutting through space and time as easily as a knife cuts through butter. And Saitama just catches it in between his fingers and goes, "What's this?" And Oculette is there just looking at it. Saitama isn't even phased at all. He's just holding it like, "What's this?" This man is busted. It isn't moving. How can that be? My dimension sword cuts space itself. Surely no one can withstand their edges. And while Saitama is multi-dimensional in his power! This just proves that Saitama's power isn't just bound to the dimension he is. It goes beyond dimensions. So Empty Void takes his other sword and tries to stab Saitama in the same manner as his other dimension slash. Huh? Another one? While Saitama is holding one blade. Mind you, the dimension slash is not just a slash itself. It is literally Empty Void's sword just cutting into the dimension itself. It's his actual sword, but you know, it's dimensional. Saitama is holding this. He is holding this, and Empty Void can't move it at all. He can't move it. So while his one sword isn't moving, he tries to stab Saitama, and Saitama goes like, huh? Another one? And he just catches it again. See, you know, Saitama being a galaxy-wide threat with him fighting Cosmic Garo, that's one thing. This just proves that Saitama's power transcends dimensions. Not just the world and universe he's in, it goes beyond that. If he's capable of stopping something that could not be stopped from even the likes of Blast, and he's just casually catching it, I'm like, what are these? Saitama is multi-dimensional. Okay, but this is shocking, Empty Void. We're not even halfway through. I'm excited today. Sure, I had the whole matter with my Simply Made Lemonade tag not tearing open so I could drink it in a quick manner. Sure, Transformers Reactivate has just flat out been canceled. But I can take solace in a Wednesday when Saitama is just showing that he's far more powerful than we thought. But Empty Void is shocked. Are you the guy who tried to mince my house, HQ? Why, you. And then Saitama takes the blades of Empty Void and yanks him in. I'm done. I am done. I call it quits. I surrender. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. This man, he yanks Void back into the dimension by force. And slams into the ground so hard that Void has a body imprint in the ground. Void! And Saitama is just standing there holding his swords. Huh? What? Huh?
Ninja swords!
And Oculette is just there with him, just watching all of this go down. And then Void pops up out of the ground. Ah! My dimension swords! And then Sonic and Flash jump up right after him. They already standing on business. They ready to go. and Void starts doing hand signs. You won't get away. As Blast opens up a portal with his left hand, which allows him to hit his fists together to activate his teleportation power. And they connect. That's smart. So this just proves that his fists don't need to be connected to one body in order for this to work. They just merely need to touch. And then we get narration. I'm sorry if I've been hyping this up. It's just that Saitama is busted. I knew he was busted, but this just proves that he's dimension-wide levels of busted now. And now we get narration. Blast teleported his blood and neurotransmissions between the severed ends of his arms to prepare for his last resort. And by teleporting, he grabs Void. He grabs Void all of a sudden before Sonic and Flash can even get to him. Huh? Ah! The same point as me. If we fuse like this, it'll scramble our biological matter. Are you trying to die? Sitch, you must do the rest. And then we get a flashback. That's too reckless, Blast. It's only a last resort. If fusion is the only way to catch him, test the technology for separating monster cells on us, and prioritize his life over mine. Whoa, he's teleporting at the exact same... Okay, so just as Void says, the last resort for Blast is for them both to fuse together so he can't get away. But when that's happening, Void's body gets engulfed in light. The power of light. It's repelling me. And both Blast and Void just get separated from each other. Because while Blast power is basically darkness, the power within Void is comprised of the light of God. And the light just flashes in front of Sonic and Flash, and then we get Blast and Void just landing apart from each other. And they're just looking at each other. And then we get more narration. For a moment, their selves overlapped, and Blast glimpsed Void's memories. Ooh, what did Void see? And then we just sneeze. Another one. Okay, we're good. And then we just see the eyes of Blast as we go back in time. He saw the person whose hand Void took in the vision from the cube. And it's a woman in a black sleeveless dress. And this woman also happens to be in a photo with Blast and his son. This is Blast's wife. This has got to be Blast's wife. This is the person that Void saw that allowed him to be tempted. Void. And then it just shows Void, and he's absolutely livid. He has multiple anger veins all over his face. Because we also have a panel here where it shows Void before he became a monster and before he got access to Cosmic Fear Garo. This was the moment he touched the cube and was tempted by God. And God used a vision of Blast's own wife, Blue's own mother, to bring him over to his side. So now the question is, what's the deal here? But yeah, Empty Void is all mad and upset because now Blast understands where the temptation came from. Okay. Well, all right. And that's the end of the chapter, to be continued. And it says we're not going on break next week, so expect another one next week as well. Ooh, this was a good chapter. So 1, let's just go over what happened. Void was basically manhandling and maiming Blast. But when it seemed like he was preparing to kill Blast and actually go after his son, Flash tries to hit him, but Flash gets slashed across his chest. So, that's one thing. But when Sonic comes in and tries to hit him, Void shifts out of the dimension in preparation of using Dimension Slash. He uses it, and the one person I was wondering where he was the entire time stops this. And we also learned that the Dimension Slash isn't just some sort of voidal energy slash that cuts through the world itself. No, it's Empty Void literally taking his sword and slicing through the dimension, and that is what is the slash itself. It is literally a dimensional version of his sword cutting through the dimension he seeks to cut. But the very person that I've been hoping to see show up after all is said and done is finally here. Saitama stops this slash with his bare hands. Mind you, we've seen the destruction of this slash. We've seen it based on the point of location being the Hero HQ. We saw it when he carved up a giant chasm in the countryside where they're fighting in right now. It's a brand new canyon. Just the maps will have to be drawn just a little bit. Just cut through the world itself, and Saitama, just with his thumb and index finger, stops the blade in its tracks. And Saitama's strength is so great, mind you, we've seen how fast Empty Void is, able to easily contend with both Sonic and Flash at the exact same time. Two individuals who pride themselves on their very own speed. Void is unable to not only cut through and pass Saitama, but also shows that he lacks the strength to pull his sword back out again. Because Saitama just holds on to the blade itself. And when Void tries to stab Saitama, he not only stops the blade, he catches the other blade in his other thumb and index finger. And when Saitama goes like, "Are you the guy who tried to mince my house?" he yanks Void back into the dimension. He pulls someone who is outside of the dimension and forces him back in. Now, this is not the first time we've seen Saitama deal with someone who deals in dimensional space. This is actually the second time we've seen him deal with someone. The first being, a Phoenix Man? During the, and I'm going off of what I read from Viz, and it tends, and the webcomics that we tend to get here, sometimes tends to be different from the manga that we get as well, so I read it off of here. But when Phoenix Man was dealing with Child Emperor at the time, and pulled Child Emperor into like his own little separate dimension that only he can manipulate, Saitama just waltzed right into this space, this subspace, which should be locked out from anyone except for Phoenix Man and the people he pulls in. Saitama just breaks through this dimension and just deals with Phoenix Man from then on. Just easily. So, this really shouldn't be much of a surprise for me. But the fact that he's done it multiple times just solidifies that Saitama is a multi-dimensional being. His power transcends dimensions. Because how are you going to be someone who is capable of going into a void space that shows multiple dimensions from different areas, either from one world or multiple worlds, and you are forced back into one from just someone's pure strength? Saitama is insane. Oh, Balatan, I won't give anything away. This is about to get extra interesting, and that's all I need to know. That's all I need to know. I don't need to know anymore. But Saitama forcibly pulling him into this space. And mind you, Saitama still has his swords. Void got pulled back in, and he just face plants in craters directly in front of Blast and everyone else. But Saitama's still in the forest with Akilet, just like holding his swords. So Void doesn't have his swords right now. So after all that said and done, Blast uses this opportunity to cause a portal to appear not only around himself, but the exit point being directly into Flash, as it shows them kind of melding at the point of entry, which the whole deal is for Blast to fuse himself with Void in order to keep him from getting away, and then use the technology that the Heroes Association has been using to try and demonsterize people, to separate the person from the monster cells, to separate both him and Void, but to prioritize the life of Void over his own. So that really speaks to Blast when he's all like, I don't want my friend to die, so prioritize his health over mine when you unfuse us. If you're able to. Yeah, I'm making a lot of assumptions here. But the light from the power of God that was given to Void allows him to keep this fusion from happening, and they separate. But because of this, because of their momentary melding, their minds was able to share each other's memories. And we get to see what Void saw that tempted him to God's side so easily, and it appears to be Blast's very own wife. So, needless to say, I am very curious to see where this story goes. Saitama raising up the humble and humbling the proud. See, this has been Saitama consistently throughout the series, and though this dude has trouble with like basic human emotions now because his power is just that vast, when he does things for others, it just shows, wow, and now I notice why it keeps going in and out like that. This happens whenever I shift back and forth from playing a game and then putting my camera on screen here. It does like the auto adjust. Sorry if it kept looking like it was getting dark and light again. That's on me because I didn't double check. One thing I love about Saitama is the fact that despite the vast power that he has, he is not above just helping out people who genuinely need it, and also, you know, not just like not really instructing people, but also encouraging those who maybe have a lesser opinion of themselves, like King, for example. Dude sees himself as incredibly weak, but Saitama's all like, yeah, if you want to get strong, by all means, do so. He doesn't make fun of King. He doesn't chide him for, you know, taking the credit for all of Saitama's kills, but he just tells him, like, hey, if you want to get strong, you just do some strength training. And the thing is, Saitama isn't preachy because he hates people who are preachy. I mean, he hates anyone that takes a long time to say something that only takes 5 words. He hates that. So he's not the preachy type. Despite his power, it has not gone to his head to where he thinks he's better than anyone else. He's just a hero for fun. Well, not anymore. He's a hero now. So all he wants to do is just live his best life and just use his power, use his overwhelmingly vast amounts of strength to just be a hero. Whereas we have a lot of people in this series that have a lot of power but look down on others, like disparage others for not having their level of strength. Look at others as if they're lesser than them because they either lack superpowers or they just lack power in general, but choose to want to be a hero. But we have Saitama with all of his power, where he's not above encouraging others. and helping others see, like, you know what? It's not all bad. He's one of the best people to talk to when it comes to encouragement, just as long as you don't talk his ears off. But going to the other side of Saitama, he is also the number one person in the series that will humble you if you think you are strong. And you try to use it against people, you try to lord it over others, or he is the humbler of the proud. As you said, Obaladan. And that's what makes him so great, is that he just does it nonchalantly. He doesn't talk people's ears off. He doesn't monologue to get his point across. He just punches you. And that sends a greater message than any semblance of panels could ever explain. We've seen tons of series where the hero explains, like, I am the hero that shoots off in the darkness, the one that answers the cries in the night. I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman. Like, there's tons of heroes out there that go on a monologue of why they're the hero and why they will never let the hero win. Saitama's all like, nah. No talk, just punch. And that says 1,000 words in just one swift motion. And every single person that has come face to face with his fist either has changed their ways or have been completely obliterated. Every single one. Saitama is the humbler of those who think they are strong. Of those who think their strength makes them better than everyone. And it's just a constant reminder that no matter how strong we see people get in this series, when it gets to their head and they think they can do whatever they want with this power, Saitama is probably more than likely going to show up and show you that your power ain't worth jack. I can cut through dimensions. I am so strong that I'm wielding the power of Cosmic Fear Garo with the combined resounding punches between both Saitama and Garo himself. Blast had to teleport all of that energy into deep space, and now there's just an empty void of space right now from that. The power of Boros. Remember Boros? Could have destroyed the Earth if he wanted, but then met with Saitama and got obliterated. Then you have Orochi, which was a person who monsterized and became stronger and stronger until he was no longer human and was pretty much the strongest monster out there, humbled by Saitama. Then you have Garo, gain the power of God and the power of the cosmos itself, the power of literal cosmic energies that, if left unchecked, could have killed everyone on the planet. And it did in the previous timeline. Now we're in a new one. But Saitama beat this fool with one hand literally tied behind his back, holding on to the core of Genos from the previous timeline. And now we have Saitama dealing with a person who can basically transcend dimensions, cut through dimensions, is easily able to handle both Sonic and Flash at the same time, cut off the hand of the number one hero in the Heroes Association. And he's just casually manhandling him without even fully realizing who he is. Nah, Saitama is a wonderful character. I love this guy. I can't wait to see what the next chapter is. I can't wait to see some backstory on more Blast and Void and find out who exactly this person is. But that will have to wait until next week. CDs, good to see you. Aw, Geno, that cyborg? Yes, Demon Cyborg Genos. But today's chapter for One Punch Man CDs, very well done. And I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the next chapter next week. Have they mentioned number one? Blast, you mean? If you mean Blast, then for the past couple of chapters, Blast has been very much in knee deep in the story, if that's what you mean. But today's chapter was very well done. That's his name, Blast. That's that number one. Yeah, Not only did he's been in the past couple of chapters. It's really been centered on Blast, Sonic, Flashy Flash, and Blast's old partner, Empty Void. I won't go into too much detail if you haven't read it. Just know that it's been these past couple of chapters concerning Blast and everybody else have been very well done. Very well done. And I'm looking forward to the next one. But I won't keep you all here any longer than I already have, because today is technically my rest day. But today's chapter of One Punch Man was very good. This is actually the first chapter of One Punch Man for the year of 2025. And I have to say, us getting our very first chapter of One Punch Man and it has the reappearance of Saitama, that's a good way to do it. Been speaking based on anime-only viewer? Ah, okay. So I won't say any more, because we are way ahead of the anime. So, needless to say, what are you doing here? This is heavy spoiler territory. I don't want to reveal too much to you. You know how I am on spoilers. I don't like you guys spoiling stuff for me, and I don't want to spoil anything for you. I don't want to do that to you. Unless you've been looking through all of my reactions to it, then you should probably be caught up with what's going on. But yeah, man, I don't want to spoil none for you. Just take it in on your own time. But just know that Saitama has returned, and I can't wait to see what happens next. Overall, very good chapter. Looking forward to the one. I'm still going to be surprised. I know, but at the same time, it's a respect thing. As a person, you watch the anime, so I feel it is my duty to not spoil what happens in the manga before you see it. It's just out of genuine respect. So I don't want to do that. But yeah, all I can say is this was a very good chapter. Looking forward to the next one. And all I can say to everyone who's tuned in today is, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day. And once again, as always, later, peoples!